We're back with all new, all singing, all dancing pop-ups. So in this tutorial, I want to look at transformation, how you get two kinds of pop-ups in one. So I think they're probably an invention by Matthew Reinhardt. And the first book I'd like to show you is Disney Princesses. And the one I want to look at is this. So here's the pop-up, all based on V-folds. And when you pull the tab, the whole thing lifts out. And you have another pop-up underneath. Yeah, really clever design. And the other one is also by Matthew Reinhardt. This one's called Transformers, the Ultimate Pop-Up Universe. Here we are. It's actually a curved shape, but again, it's based on converging creases, a variation on V-folds. And when you pull this, the whole thing lifts up. And this one's dead clever because the dome, when you pull the tab and it lifts up, it actually makes a hollow backdrop for the pop-ups that are in front of it. The interesting variation on the first one I showed you is that on this one, there's a V-fold in the middle of it, and in actual fact, there's a hole in the piece that lifts up. So when you pull this, the V-fold, the figure, the princess, is still in the scene. The scene around the princess has changed, but she's still there. So again, there's a hole in the piece that moves. This is my version just to show you how it all works. So here you've got a V-fold pop-up, and when you pull this tab, it lifts up and you've got parallel fold pop-ups underneath it. The pieces you will need, the base sheet. For some reason, this time I've done it, the whole thing is portrait way rather than landscape way, and it will probably work the other way. I don't know why I did this, but anyway, I think I wasn't sure how it would all work, so I was just experimenting. So that will be your base. When you look at it sideways on, you can see there's the base, that's the pinky purpley sheet, and when you pull it up, the sheet above it is this yellow, and then the green, which will be the top layer with the V-fold on it, that actually sticks on last. So first we've got this purple sheet, that's the base, there's no measurements. Then you have the yellow, all the measurements are in centimetres. At the top there's 2 centimetres and then a crease right across, 2 more and a crease right across, and then we come down 6, and that's taking you to where, when you look at it sideways on, you can see there are these grey-blue, blue-grey pieces which actually push up the green piece. They're actually attached to the base, and that's what enables the green piece to be lifted up. So those go through slots in the yellow. So the slots, they're here. It's 6 centimetres down, 3 centimetres in from the outer edge, 3 centimetres in from the central crease. So these will be the slots. I'll cut them out in a minute. And then down at the bottom of the page, here's the part that you pull. So that's this piece. There's a whole chunk cut out here. That will be cut out here. And then there's this piece so that it can slide up and down between these sleeves. It'll all be clear when I come to cutting it out and measure it and sticking it together. The other pieces you'll need, these are the pieces that will be the bits that push the green up. So there, again, there's a tab at the top, that's 2 centimetres. The whole strip is 3.5 wide, but because it takes some pressure, I'm making them double thickness, so you'll crease it all the way up. The length is indeterminate, actually. I make it quite long, so then you can cut it back, once it's stuck in place. So there's 2 of those, and then you'll need 2 of these little sleeves. These are the 2 sleeves that hold the whole thing in place down here. So on this, these are the bits that are going to move through the sleeves. They're 2.5 centimetres wide, and so this central piece on the sleeve is 3 centimetres wide, so it has a bit of clearance. So first, I'll just cut this one out so you can see there's these 2 slots here that the blue-grey bits are going to go through. So one there, and one here. And then here, all this piece can be cut out. And you'll need to do the same on the green, because there's so many layers and so much folding. You just need to take out some of the thickness. So we take the base, we stick the first section on, we want it stuck down flush. That has to fold back on itself like that. Make sure it's stuck down really firmly. And then next is the green bit that is going to stick on to the next section of the yellow. And this is all going to fold back on itself. Well, you'll see that in a mo. So that sticks on flush with that crease on the yellow. That folds back like that. Just check that's not okay. And now these two strips, crease them well. And glue them back to back. This makes a much stronger strip. When it's a piece folded in half with a crease down the edge, it makes it a much firmer strip than if you have two separate pieces that are just laminated together. That's the way these work. And you just glue them back to back so they lie flatter when they're in position. And then these will stick onto the green bit, so they will stick here. They will go through the slots. This tab is 2 centimeters wide, so you can put the end of it tight into the gully so you know it's going to be in the right position. So I'll just put glue on that tab. And just make sure it's fairly squared up with that slot that it's going through, and make sure that's moving okay. And the same with this one. So now these have to, as you pull and push the other ends of these, they have to be fixed to the base page. So the way I've done it with this, I've actually fed them through and glued them. But there's all sorts of ways you could do it. You could actually glue them on top or whatever. I wanted them to be out of the way of all this. So it's 12 centimeters from the end of the base page. So if I come in like that, 12 centimeters, I need to cut it on this side. So I get that all out of the way. Come in 12 centimeters. Oh, there we are. 12, and 12 on the other side, 12. I do it like that. I'll just hold this up so you can see, I can see where they're going to lie on the page and do marks on each side. So now I know where to make the slits. So just to keep it neat and tidy, I will rule that line. Going a bit beyond the edges of where the strips are going to be, and then cutting them back a little bit at each end so the card can lift slightly to ease the movement, and then feed them through. Let's just check. If I hold them tight, let me think about this, where they glue. You want them fixed when it's flat, I guess. Yeah, so here we go. It doesn't need to be this long. I'll cut some off. Put some glue on the ends. There we go. Now, that is supposed to be folded back on itself. That's it. And now, with that all folded back on it, now these glue down. Now it should be all right. Yeah. Now let's glue it again. Like I didn't cut off too much. Now, yeah, there we go. So now that's working pretty nicely. So now these need to have their sleeves put on them. The whole thing is going to move this way. So you can put the sleeve right up against it there. So you start with these. You just glue the middle section. They're 3 centimeters wide. Maybe I'll just write that on. 3. So that they're just a little bit wider than these bits. So these are 2.5 and this is 3. So you put glue on the middle bit and glue that underneath there. So it'll be like that. Again, if you look at the books, these can actually thread under the page and come up the other side. But then you'd have to mess around with cutting off this bit and sticking it on. So I think this is the simplest way to do that. There we are. And make sure that moves, that's okay. And the other one. There you see it. It is moving pretty nicely now. The purple bit is obviously too big, so we can cut a big slice off that. You can only really make V-folds on this, I think. The whole thing does fold like that. So you'll fold it like that. You can have a pop-up in here. Then you can pull it back. And there you get the transformation. So you can stick more pop-ups into here, which will cover up and hide these strips. So you can have parallel folds built into this. They will come up and hide those blue strips, unless you want these part of the design. I haven't actually worked out the exact measurements necessary here. I've made it 6 centimeters, but quite likely it could be closer or further away. You can also cut away a large amount of this. So if we look at those other the two examples in the books, just for another little look at them. Well, one you can see on this, the way these bits go through under the page, whereas I've used sleeves to hold them in place. This goes underneath the page instead. And you can see this piece is what is yellow in mine. And so you can see there's a hole cut in that V-fold sticks up through. And then you can see here are the parallel folds that are hiding. This is the strut that in mine is that blue-grey. These are the struts that push up the extra level as you pull. They're the ones that work against it. Also, as you can see, once you've got these bits lifting up, you can start building V-folds or other things into them if you want. And the same in this other one, the Transformers book. Yeah, this is it. Again, you can see the strip that has been pulled. It goes under the page. Rather than having a sleeve, it goes under and comes up again. And when you pull it, you can see this layer is what's yellow on my one. And so when you put it up, you can see actually this is the yellow bit on my one. You can see there's bits that have been cut away so that you can look right into the inside of the dome. And the dome, on my previous tutorials, domes and globes are on tutorial 61, 62, if you want to do that. The V-folds are on tutorials 2, 3 and 4, and the parallel folds are on tutorials 5 and 6. So that is transformations, 2 pop-ups in 1. Thank you very much.